Saturday, we got the triple header, but the main one we want to talk about is the first one of the day at 12, right? You got Texas A&M. They're hosting Miami. Let's start off by saying, Miami, they've only played 3 games this year outside of the state of Florida. That is insane.
Yeah.
Yeah. The toughest one being against Pitt, where they won it in a dominant fashion. They now have to come to College Station and endure the environment of 102,000 SEC fans yelling and trying to have them in a controlled chaos environment for 4 hours.
Imagine if this game was at night.
It just absolutely would not be fair.
Yeah.
So yeah, on the other side, Texas A&M, however, is coming off a loss to their rival, where their once Heisman hopeful didn't play, up to his potential. He didn't have his best day, to say the least, right? Uh, the first round matchup is going to be interesting, and I think it actually is going to be unlike any of the others because neither team in this matchup played in the conference championship. So it'll be almost a month of no gameplay for either team. All other matchups in the first round have somebody who just came off a conference championship,
Mm-hmm.
at least for one of the two teams, right? Uh, I was watching ESPN earlier this week, and an ESPN commentator, he was actually talking about the teams who get bye weeks in the playoffs. But I was thinking about this for this matchup. Having this much time off, it can serve as, two things for teams. It can either serve as time to really get rest and to, reset for this matchup, or it can be time to rust.
Mm-hmm.
We saw each of those teams who got buys last year lose in the playoffs because
0 for 4 last year.
yeah, they pretty much rusted, right? So it's going to be interesting to see if either team is rusted or rested in this game. So yeah, with that being said, let's talk about some of the keys each team will need to bring.
Mm-hmm.
So, at the quarterback position, it's so critical for each team's quarterback to be locked in and ready to play for this matchup. We've seen both teams struggle when their quarterbacks struggle. But Mash, in your opinion, which team needs their quarterback to execute more?
I would go for Miami and Carson Beck. I think Carson Beck needs to be on his A plus game here. Texas defensive line is statistically the best in the nation at getting after the quarterback. They have the number 1 sack rate on passing downs, especially. So if Miami's offensive line, who in their own right, they're great in pass protection, by the way. If they can't contain Cassius Howell and the rest of the Aggies front, Carson Beck won't have the time to get his high completion passes off that he usually gets that we typically see. Texas A&M, they typically find more success running the ball anyway, than compared to Miami. So even if Marcel Reed has a, let's say, B+ game, they can at least lean on their rushing ability a little bit more. So to answer your question, Aaron, yeah, like Carson Beck, his performance needs to be at the top in order for Miami to win.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, let's talk about the biggest things they have to face or hurdles they have to climb over, and it's that
Mm-hmm.
defensive pressure. I think the fun thing about both of these teams is, they have freak athletes on the defensive line, right? So for Miami, you have Ruben Bain Jr., right? He's the ACC Defensive Player of the Year, and he's looking to cause a lot of havoc. He's a guy who has, I think, 7.5 tackles for loss this year and 4.5 sacks on the year. He's a central role in the defensive unit, and he's part of the reason why this team is ranked, nationally in terms of being a top defense. So very interested to see how he's going to affect Marcel Reed. For Texas A&M, Mash, you already mentioned Cassius Howell. I mean, this guy, he's a first team All-American, SEC Defensive Player of the Year. Out of the two, he may be the scarier defender. I mean, this guy's got 11.5 sacks on the year. With Carson Beck being a little less mobile than Marcel Reed, I think this is where Texas A&M will have the advantage.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead and, kind of talk about where I think the outcome of this game will go. If it were at a neutral site, I'd give benefit of the doubt and say it would be, a very close game. But I think with the long break and Miami, never truly having to come into a hostile environment like this, I think it's going to rattle them. Texas A&M, their only blemish is probably to one of the most improved teams that we saw this year. So I think they're going to reset. They're going to win this game, and I think they're going to win by a comfortable 10 points. What are your
Uh,
thoughts?
yeah, 10 is a lot, but I do think Texas A&M will win this game. I'm thinking I don't want to discount how good Miami's offense is. I think it'll be like in the 6 to 8 range, maybe. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I think Texas A&M will be able to overpower Miami here.